I've heard your voice before. Didn't you used to work at like 911?
Sir, that will be $6.66.
But the guy with the horns, he wouldn't let me turn it off.
$6.66.
Oh my God. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Good to see you. Another live here. Got my good friend Lee from Devil's Advocate.
Yeah.
What's going on? I got it right. I got it right.
Actually, I kind of rebranded a little bit just today. I changed my name to DA Rants because somebody said I should shorten up the Devil's Advocates thing and whatever, and they didn't realize it was going to change like a lot more than it did. So I'm still Devil's Advocates, but I think I'm going to show up as DA Rants whenever I type something in or whatever. So that's new. But
Okay, interesting. Well, very good. Here Thursday night, just kind of getting ready for the weekend, and we got some people here filing in, kind of give them a chance to get seated and find themselves a good spot. You know, back in the day, Lee, I would go to company meetings. My boss would put $100 bill under one of the seats.
Oh yes, right.
Meeting. And one time he put it right in the, always would put him like in the front row,
Uh-huh.
Everybody always sits in the back, so he would try to entice them to the front. And one time we had an employee sit in the seat where the $100 bill was, and then he got up and went to another seat with in front of his came in.
Oh,
well, guy wound up costing him $100. So
yeah, that's a mistake.
Right.
You owe me $100.
Right. Well, good to see everybody here. It's some people I see in the chat that I'm familiar with. Got Catherine S. and Teresa, Dreamcatcher, of course Donna Lembo, and some good Transport to Terror is always in here lately. Cheryl Fitzgerald, Starship Trooper. I'm sure some of these are your crowd too, Lee.
Yep, I recognize some names for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. So always nice to see that with the various creators is having a good relationship, working with each other, and then having some commonality with the crowds and then some different crowds so that your crowd gets to be subjected to my stupidity for 90 minutes and then my crowd gets to see you wearing that hat there. I'm surprised you're wearing the hat tonight. I mean,
oh God,
I wasn't going to get you too bad, but my Yankee mug over there is kind of taunting you a little bit. But
you're killing me, like
you guys.
Right, the Yankees have been in a slide. We're doing good, and then we hit the Yankees and 10-1. I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah, we were playing like garbage for like a week and a half.
You rise to the occasion to play the Yankees.
Exactly.
Yeah,
well, it's been good though, but the third game is tonight, so we'll see. Maybe you guys can pull it together.
Not get swept. Yeah, we're not gonna win the series, but we might not get swept.
Right. But yeah, definitely a big baseball fan. I grew up with it in my blood.
I got a new kitty.
Just a girl here says hello. Gwen says hello. So we got a lot of people here filing in. And we're going to talk about some different cases tonight, Lee. I know we've been beating that drum to our audiences of, hey guys, there's still going to be a lot of stuff to talk about with Idaho, but there's some other cases out there we want to talk about.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, so Idaho's not dead, that's for sure. But it's it's kind of in that harder and harder to talk about Idaho for, because I mean, if there's going to be no trial, what's there going to be uncovered? Hopefully with the Information Act and stuff like that, that's going to open some stuff up and the gag order being lifted. But yeah,
I got to say that video you did, I think it was last week, or maybe it was Monday. That one you did where you were going off on the whole Dylan and Bethany thing. That was epic, dude. I was like on my feet, even though I'm in a wheelchair, theoretically on my feet,
That's funny.
just applauding you, man. That was just great stuff. I mean, where did that come from? Were you just like so just pissed off at the Brian
Yeah,
Kohlberg guilty plea? I mean, what do we?
I'm passionate about the thing. Like none of this is bullshit for me. I'm passionate about the presumption of innocence. I'm passionate about bullshit tactics and law enforcement cover-ups and shit like that. So I get spun up when the official story does not make sense. And yeah, it comes out. I do some rants, and those are not fake rants. That's all passion and how I feel about it. You know.
No, that was great stuff. I mean, you definitely were just laying it on the line, and I was with you, hook, you line, and sinker with that argument. I mean, I did videos about similar stuff, which is okay. So let's say that Koberger's guilty. Let's just say that he is. Let's just say that he did the deed. Where does that leave the rest of the shenanigans that was going on around him? I
Right.
mean,
Right.
because it wasn't like they were going to the library to study or going to the soda fountain to have a dance.
Right.
They were doing all sorts of party favors, drinking like fools, doing all sorts of weird stuff with these frats and sororities and their like cult like rituals that they do. I mean, the $6 Venmo payments. I mean,
Right. Yeah.
on and on and on. And you can't tell me that now all of a sudden, oh, nothing to see here. We keep moving on. But that's
Yeah.
what they want. I mean, wouldn't you agree?
Oh, absolutely, and it's super frustrating because I feel like a lot of people want the simple answer, and they want to just put it to bed, and it's going to drive people like me nuts. Like it's never going to explain a whole bunch of the questions. I mean, you and I were talking kind of backstage a little bit about how this is going to end up being one of those cases that they talk about for decades because they'll just never will be answers to the questions that, and it'll always be a mystery. Like, did this really happen the way they say it did? Was it
Right.
whitewashed and just swept under the table? Is anybody ever going to answer the questions, the $1 million questions that everybody wants to know? Is why so long to call 911? Why? I
Right.
mean, this just goes on, and it may never be
Yeah.
being talked about. You know.
No, I think that's what makes true crime special is every now and then you get a case like this that for whatever reason doesn't get solved, something falls through, just unanswered questions. And some of those cases just endure for so long. I mean, I'm thinking just off the cuff, I mean, Jack the Ripper would be probably the iconic true crime case that I remember talking to Catherine Ramsland about it because she doesn't like the assumption that all those letters were from one person, the Ripper letters. And so
Yeah.
she's very anti like what the consensus is on Jack the Ripper. But nonetheless, you get this, classic true crime case that never was solved. I mean, nobody knows who he was. Was he a Londoner? Was he American? Was he from,
Right.
Zimbabwe? I mean, where was
And
this dude from?
and in the vein of people like the simple answer, and like if you say Ramsland was having a problem with are all these letters from the same person, this is ringing a bell for me with me getting now involved with the Rex Heuermann cases. Were all those murders his? And
Right,
people simply want the easy answer, which is let's just wrap up all the killings in the area, put it on one guy, call it good, and we've got an answer. And it's not a good enough answer if somebody else killed somebody, because that means a killer walks free and we're not holding justice. So I hope we don't have another situation where the easy answer is just let's just sweep up all the bodies being dumped in the area, put it on one guy, and go to bed at night. So
yeah, because these dump sites, it's not like these are secrets, to
right,
the underworld. So another good example out in the East Coast, where I was from, down in New Jersey, that's called the Pine Barrens. I know they talked about it in The Sopranos, where you want to make something go away, you go bury it out in this Pine Barrens, and it'll never be seen because everything looks exactly the same. It's like the maze in The Shining. You can't ever find your way through it. So, they could have, you know, been buried. Multiple perps could have been dumping bodies over that way, and not all of them were exactly found in the same manner. I know the burlap was the big thing, but
Yeah.
I know there were anomalies in those bodies they found.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, the interesting part is, there's a big difference between somebody who puts 4 bodies in burlap bags versus somebody who chops up and dismembers people and spreads them out on different parts of the island. So you have to ask yourself, is that the same killer? Because they're going to try to pitch this killer evolved and their tactics changed over time. Is that really the case? Or is it multiple killers? And really, when you start diving into the idea of multiple killers, you get some crazy possible suspects that could have been other killers that might not be his, so. And it's funny because I say might not be his as if I'm already presuming that some of them are his, which is funny considering the channel that believes in the presumption of innocence until proven guilty. But I think logic tells you there's a real good chance he was involved in some of those murders.
Yeah.
So for me to just say, there's, maybe he didn't do it at all. My big question is maybe he didn't do them all. And I mean, they're saying with Rex, he may have been doing it for 30 years, and he may be one of the most prolific killers. He may have bodies in the hundreds. They're only looking at 7 right now. So it could go either way. It could be that all 7 of them aren't his, or he could have hundreds of bodies that we don't know about. So who knows?
Yeah, I mean, we've covered them on the podcast. I know the drifter killers, those are the ones with the crazy body counts because they don't stick around. They're in the next town by the time the police are looking, and they got no motive. Right. They just did it to, have some money or some food to eat or whatever, and they're on their way. And those are the hardest to catch. Those are definitely the hardest to catch. I know when I wrote a novel where the main character, the killer, was a drifter, and it was interesting to write those characters because every time, they wake up, they're somewhere else, and that was kind of fun to write a character like that. But but in real life, I mean, they're enigmas. It's hard to figure them out, right?
Yeah, you're making me envious. I've always wanted to be a writer. When you keep talking about writing books, I'm like, damn it, why didn't I get into writing? It's what I wanted to do.
Yeah, as we're both entering retirement here, I hear what you're saying, dude. I've been doing it since I was in 4th grade.
Yeah.
So I've been at it for a long time, but yeah, I'm making progress in my novel about my last year that I've been enduring some pretty heavy stuff medically with necrotizing fasciitis, and then 6 weeks later, a completely unrelated bone infection in my left ankle caused me to have my foot and lower leg amputated. So it's been rough. And speaking of that, while I see, we've got to have a pretty decent crowd here and a lot of the familiar faces, but I did want to mention this. This has not been announced here previously, but I had to do a CAT scan this week to check out some issues that I've been having internally. So it's not related to my leg or the stump or any of that. And so it's related to the stuff that they had to do to save me from necrotizing fasciitis. But one of those things is causing some problems. And so they did the CAT scan to see what the problem is and what's the root of it. And so it looks like some surgery is going to be needed. I don't know what day that'll be, but I wanted to let you all know that in case you all of a sudden see me drop out and not on YouTube for a few days or whatever, that's probably what it is. So have no fear, I'll be back. But it's not life threatening, but it is something that needs to be handled. So just for what it's worth. So yeah, these cases that, I mean, we could think of so many of them. One of my favorites though is the Zodiac.
Yeah.
The Zodiac. Wow. What a scary thing that had to be,
It's been a while since I've watched any of the documentaries on the Zodiacs. I used to watch a lot of those, back in the day. It's been a while since I've dug into that one.
Yeah, they had the copycat Zodiac in New York, but the original in California. But wow, what's a crazy those ciphers that he would send in, and those two math teachers figured one of them out, and then there's one that I don't think they ever figured out, but pretty neat. And I just think that's another one of those we don't know who it was.
Yeah.
They've thrown around names over the years, but nothing really stuck, And I think that's how the Idaho Four may very well go down, is just one of those we just never know. It's hard to grasp that, but I think that's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah, it makes me a little ill to spend, and I honestly feel, I was just talking about this today on my noon live that I had, that I feel like even Hitler, Hitler, even he who seemed to be all pro prosecution, whatever, I feel he was a little annoyed that we got robbed of a trial, because I think even he wanted to see it play out in court, and he was just like, this last minute out of my hands. You literally came to me with this 2 days ago. I was fully prepared to go to trial. I wanted to. I think he wanted to see. I think he wanted to see the evidence. I think he wanted to see it fought out, and they just robbed everyone. They had robbed an entire country of closure on the deal. I know that they think they're giving people closure, but I think they've robbed people of closure. But
And what a colossal waste of money!
God, right?
You imagine how many computers could you buy for the school system there with the money that they pissed away on this trial? I mean, I've brought this up before, especially in this case. You got both sides getting paid from the same wallet, you
Right,
know.
right.
So you want to talk about just like doubling everything. Like normally, if some fancy pants lawyer comes in there, like he or she's going to be, putting up some dough to fight it. But when you got the prosecution and the defense with their hands in the same cookie jar, I mean, it's a shit show. And then you throw in the court itself and all that drama. I mean, cost. Their
And
staff,
not and
the
and not to get
judge.
political, but not to get political, but who loses is the taxpayers, really. I mean, because it's
Exactly.
that's the taxpayers have to foot that bill, and it's a hefty
Right.
bill. Yeah.
Yeah, it's infuriating, and I don't pay Idaho state taxes, but I think if I did, I'd be raising a fuss. I mean, that's just ridiculous. I
Yeah.
mean, that's the problem with the government. I mean, it's there's no perfect system, but when you're doing that kind of thing and spending all this time and resources, jet flying this guy around the country in a friggin' jet and all this other crap, and then to have that happen, I mean, that's just absurd. I mean, he should have done. He was going to go that route, they should have made him go the BTK route,
Yeah.
which is you
Tell,
start
tell
with
all.
day one, and
Yep.
we want to hear the whole damn thing, diary entries, whatever you did. We
Yeah.
want to hear the whole thing. How did you come up with Maddie? If it was Maddie,
Yep.
how did you pick the house? All that stuff, everything. Let's hear it. Anybody help you along the way? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
It's
we
a
didn't get that. But
no.
that's
It's a
that's what it
tragedy.
should have been. I
Yeah.
mean, if you want to get spared the death penalty, what are you putting up? You know, that it's
And
just
yeah, but and yeah, 'cause I don't know. I just, again, the judge didn't have much of a hand in it, because that deal gets made between the prosecution and the defense. So I hate beating a dead horse, but I think if the prosecution seriously had the case that they told everybody that they would have never offered a plea deal. They would have been convinced that they can get a conviction, and they would have proceeded. And the fact that they threw in a last minute agreeing to a plea deal tells you even the prosecution was afraid they were going to lose that case. That's my
right.
opinion, and I'm sticking to it.
No, I agree. I think they were real worried they were going to look stupid. I mean, I couldn't imagine it would have ended well with Brett Payne getting up on the stand and then Cy Ray and all that. I mean, it would have been just a straight up annihilation. And I think
Yeah.
they knew it. They knew they were going to get their asses handed to them. I just don't
Yeah. And
understand why Koberger flinched. He should have just said, you know what? I've come all this way. Like, let's do it. You know,
Right.
let's
There's
let's
there's
have a trial. Give me a chance.
there's half a dozen reasons, I mean, and one of which, to be fair, because I want to be fair, one of which is that he just did it and he just decided, screw it, I don't want to freaking fight it anymore, I'd rather not get killed for it. But there's half a dozen other reasons: pressure on his family, threats that his family was going to be arrested for possibly knowing about it and not coming forward. He could be afraid of somebody killing him in prison if he doesn't take the fall for it, because there's still people on the outside or people on the, there's a million theories on why a person could have decided to save their own skin or their family's skin. So I've got a cat that's just attacking the shit out of my keyboard right now. She's about to walk all over, or he's about to walk over my keyboard and push buttons and disconnect us or something.
Oh boy, yeah, I thought I saw that.
Yeah, this cat's killing me. He's a little bastard.
So yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how things go on the 23rd. Do you expect any surprises or anything, Lee, on the sentencing?
I don't expect a surprise. I'm thinking I'm going to be in the courtroom. I'm going to try to go to that. I'm pretty sure.
Go?
Yeah, I went to I went to the plea, so I'm thinking I'm going to go to the sentencing. Although it's going to be an emotional shit show, because I think the families are going to get to do their impact statements before sentencing, and that's going to be a shit show. But I think I'm going to go, but I don't expect a surprise. I really don't. To be honest with you, the only surprise I expect isn't like a change of plea. My only surprise is somebody getting up and trying to shoot Koberger at this, right there in the courtroom. And if that's the case, and then you have to ask how that even is possible in America, because they've got all kinds of security that shouldn't have that kind of even a remote possibility of that happening. But that's the only kind of surprise I expect, is there might something just go completely haywire and somebody jumps the bar and tries to strangle them out or something.
Right. Yeah, I think that'll be cool if you could go up there. I mean, that'd be awesome. How far is that for you?
It's about 3 hours, three hours and 20 minutes.
Wow.
Or so. Not too bad. Yeah, not too bad.
That's not too bad at all.
The hardest part about it to go this time, though, the hardest part is it's going to be hotter than it was last time. And last time, I got there at 3:00 in the morning, and the court opened at 8 because the trial was going to be like at 10:45. This time, I think it's in the afternoon, like 2:45, which means, do I sit out all night long and bake in the sun? I doubt they're going to let us into the courtroom and stand in the hallway for 6 hours waiting for an afternoon appointment kind of thing. So they might make us stay outside in the baking sun. Like, I don't know how that's going to go.
Oh, wow.
Play it by ear and see. I'm still planning on giving it a shot, I guess.
That's fun. That sounds.
I didn't think I could get into the plea deal, so I now that I know that I can, and I know the trick, if you will, I might just pull it off, do it again.
Crime Tech Explorer here, Lee, says his cat loves to stand on his keyboard in front of him. So,
wow, yeah, these cats, man. Earlier in my live, the cat literally grabbed my microphone and my lights and pulled it all off the table in the middle of my live. And pulled my headphones off, and I was just like, ah! Anyways.
And Crime Tech Explorer, it used to be easy for me to add you as a moderator right here in the chat, but it's not letting me do it because I'm on StreamYard. That's what I'll have to do. At some point tonight, I'll have to do it through YouTube, because it wasn't letting me do it. Now it just dawned on me why. So I'll get you. I know it was easier for me to add them that way than sometimes I'd search for them on YouTube and they don't find them.
Looks like somebody else in the chat, I don't know if it's your chat or mine, is actually going to the sentencing too. So somebody who watches one of our channels, me there.
Great.
I see them there.
Yeah, I think it should be an interesting day for sure, and they're going to do some victim impact statements too, Lee.
I believe so. Yes. I think that's pretty standard on the sentencing, is basically to allow the families to weigh in on what they think the judge should sentence. I mean, ultimately it's his decision, of course, anyways, but the families will probably weigh in and basically tell Koberger to go to hell and all those things, and it'll be emotional, and it'll probably be I don't expect there to be any surprises in that. That there might be a surprise if a family slips up and says something that they've known or something like that hasn't been leaked. That could be surprising, but I don't know. It's going to be it's an emotional thing when you spend so much of your life dedicated to it. It's gonna be like a dump, dump to finish that, but.
Yeah, it is definitely an emotional thing because you got a lot of time invested in it, and we're all been years now going. I wasn't in the very very beginning, um, but I was there about 6 months in. So I mean, I've been going at it for a couple of years now, and it's just it's a lot of time invested, a lot of stuff that it may be. Sometimes doesn't seem like it, but it's just an incredible. When you really add it up, there's a lot of time in there that's been spent.
Yeah. Yeah. And the hardest part about it, I think for me, being new into the true crime space on YouTube and stuff like that, is people who one accuse me of trying to profiteer off of murder, and making fun of me that now I have to find another job because I can't make money off of Koberger kind of shit, which pisses me off. And instead of of
Right.
course assuming that I just actually believe in the presumption of innocence in America and believe in what we stand for, instead of believing that's the case, I have to be a piece of shit looking to profit off of murder, kind of thing, which kind of pisses me off. And then you have to, then you're like, well, how long can you keep talking about it before it gets worse with the beatings that you take? Like, let it go, man, it's over.
Right.
you're,
I
you're trying to
know.
milk cash out of a dead cow. It's like, whatever.
I know. The thing is we've said this before, is if you don't want to see this kind of stuff, I mean, it's not like you're all of a sudden had this epiphany and you've changed the entire way you put your show together. And
Yeah,
same with me. So it's like if you're coming to my channel, you know what you're going to get. Like I'm not doing anything new. I'm just doing me. And you're doing
yeah,
your stuff, and that's how it is. But some of these people, I mean, they show up and they're all hateful, and I don't understand what they expect. Um, there are people that pay their bills doing this stuff. I'm thankful it's
yeah,
not me, but there are people that are this is how they survive. This is their main source of income, and I think it's BS to sit here and dog out a person for making an honest living. I mean, what about the news networks? I don't see anybody opposing
right.
any of those people making millions. I mean, you and I are, are certainly not making millions, right? So it's like,
No,
you
no,
want to really bitch and moan, go to ABC or NBC or one of those networks and ask how much they're paying their news readers. You
yeah,
and I are doing everything. It's a one man show here. I know it is with you.
yep,
You're
yep,
researching, you're writing, you're editing, you're everything.
yeah,
Whereas the networks, it's just some talking head that gets handed a script and they have to read it off the teleprompter, and then they're done. I mean, they don't really have much of their own thought in there. It's all written out for them. So
right. Yeah, and I've had somebody. I mean, I don't want to bore everybody to death, but I've had somebody do the whole. Well, I'm not going to listen to somebody who gets paid money to give an opinion, and I'm like, the news literally gets paid money. Like, if you watch a commercial for a pharmaceutical company who wants to say, ask your doctor about whatever the hell it is, that's because they got paid to tell you their
right,
opinion. So yeah. So,
exactly.
anyways, I gotta get off the soapbox. And this cat, I'm telling you, do you see that cat? That cat is all over my table.
I did see the cat.
Oh my
Here's a good
gosh.
one from Crime Tech Explorer. And Crime Tech
Yeah.
Explorer, if you didn't notice, I got you added as a moderator. There are people still covering the Chris Watts case 8 years later. I mean, yeah, it's an awful case. I mean, yeah, it's been solved and we know, but then do we know? Because he came back and said that the girlfriend was more involved than they let on to be in the beginning. He kind of covered for her. At least that's what he says, right? And you don't know if
Right.
he's just talking shit or if it's true. But I got to say, anybody that does that to his two daughters and his wife who was pregnant deserves no quarter, man. That guy's a piece of shit. And he
Yeah, I think
deserves whatever awful things happen to him in prison because that's just horrible. I mean, absolutely horrible.
yeah.
But good one though. Crime Tech Explorer, good one about these cases. I mean, look at the Manson murders. I mean, that happened in
Still talk about that.
1971.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just did a video a couple weeks ago about the Mansons and some comparisons between him and his crimes and the Idaho 4 crimes and the sensationalism in the media and all that. And that's a crime that's, almost 60 years past now, and still, people talk about that. I'm
Yeah.
laughing at your cat. I could see.
I'm gonna have to kick this cat out of the room. It's the most brutal thing ever.
I could see this like on like Fox News
The
or
shadow.
something, like man doing podcasts, like loses his mind on this
I'm
cat.
gonna kick this cat out. I'll be right back.
All right. But yeah, the Manson crimes, I mean, they were gruesome, very sensationalized. But we still talk about that, here almost 60 years later. So it doesn't have to be the hottest thing coming off the press. It can sometimes be other crimes that link together. I talk about this a lot in my videos of the similarities between serial killers. BTK was a huge student, and so was Bundy, of uh, Harvey Glattman, which is about the least sexy serial killer name you've ever heard of, right? Harvey Glattman, the glamour girl slayer from the 50s. He would find women and offer to take their pictures for true crime magazines, and he would take them out to remote areas of the desert and tie them up as part of the photo shoot. And then he would tell them what he was going to do to them, and they would be terrified, of course, and scream, and he would take their pictures while they were screaming and freaking out. Yeah, that was his thing.
That's
So
crazy shit. That reminds me
it
of
is.
do you remember Rodney on Alcala? I think it was.
Yeah,
He
Alcala.
was
Yeah, the
a
dating
photographer.
game killer.
Yeah,
The
dating
dating
game killer.
Yes.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, so there's just some really like warped stuff that some of these guys have done, but there's others that were inspired by them. Like I said, BTK, Bundy, both enamored with Glattman. Glattman's one that's often cited, but very few people know who he is. But that was like episode 15, I think, in Murder Metal Mayhem. It was an early one we did. I just thought it was cool that so many people had modeled their way of doing it after him, but yet nobody really knows who the original
Right.
was. They know the copycats, but not the original. Just
Crazy.
like Gacy with the hand trick, the handcuff trick, and the rope tricks. He learned that from Dean Coral, the Candyman, down in Houston, and he was doing that with his sidekick, and they were tying people up and then letting them know, oh, you just fell for my handcuff trick or my rope trick, and
Yeah.
and then would do what they wanted to him. So these guys are all students of each other, is what I'm saying. So the fact that Brian, I mean, whether he did this or not, and I'm leaning toward not, because I think there's got to be some other reason for him to be saying he did this.
Well, to get
It
into
makes
the,
no damn sense. It just doesn't make any
psychology.
sense.
I think everybody loves a good murder mystery, right? And these are like murder mystery on steroids, because it's not like going to an Agatha Christie. Everybody likes Agatha Christie type of films and who did it and can you prove it, and watching the sleuth figure it out, right? To some extent, I think true crimers are a lot like that. They like watching content creators break stories and unpack it and develop who did it. It's almost like it's like a murder mystery on steroids. Only the worst part about it is it's not fictional, right? It involves real people's lives. So there's the difficulty of covering those kind of stories. But anyways, there's a part of the brain that wants to solve puzzles. Like people want to solve puzzles. I think it's natural for us to want to solve puzzles. So when you see something that doesn't make sense, certain types of people just get a real cerebral rush out of trying to figure out, well, what just happened there? And I think I can make the dots and I can connect the dots. And people just really thrive on it, probably like people like you and me.
So. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, love to solve puzzles, and I'm terrible at solving a puzzle. Like if you're ever in an escape room, don't have me on your team, because I can't do it. I'll offer some comedic, breaking the ice, comedic stuff going on in the background, the periphery, cracking jokes and stuff, but if you're wanting me to solve puzzles on your team, I'm not the guy. But my wife is really good at it. My daughter's really good at it, so I go with them, and then I feel a little smarter, because they're figuring it out. But yeah, puzzles they fascinate me, even though I'm not that good at solving them. I think my talent is in discussing them and analyzing how people think or react to something. That's why I get like a little annoyed when people are real nitpicky in the comments about a real obscure detail that maybe you misspoke about something. And it's like, dude, like
You're
I'm
missing the
trying to
bigger
do this
picture.
by
Yeah.
myself. Like I
Right.
don't have, a team of you know, college kids off to the side making notes for me so that I make sure I correct things. It happens, but
Get
I'm there for the color commentary, so to speak. So
yeah. It
it's a different kind of thing.
it's hilarious too because sometimes even when you're right, you're wrong. And I'll give you an example. So in the Luigi Mangione case, when it first came out, I used to say Mangione, and I guess I have an extra pronunciation, right? I said Mangione, and then somebody would bust my balls. You need to learn how to pronounce it. It's Mangione, like an Italian, like Mangione. And I'm like, okay, so I'm going to pronounce it Mangione. And then somebody's like, no, even his lawyer says Mangione, it's Mangione. And I'm like, I'm not playing this game. So then it came time for Gonsalves, right? And somebody says, oh my God,
Uh,
that's Portuguese and it's Goncalves. So one time in one video, I said Goncalves. Oh my God, this moron doesn't even know how to pronounce Gonsalves. It's like Salvis. Like I'm like, I'm so fucking tired of you guys missing the point. Like, who gives a shit about like? I'm trying to do my best
right,
to be respectful and pronounce it right, but it probably was right as technically it was pronounced in that language. But that doesn't mean that that's the way everybody else pronounces it. So, anyways, you cannot
exactly.
win at the end of the day. Somebody's always going to bust your nuts.
No, no, another
Sorry for
one
all the
like
F
that.
bombs.
Yeah, another one like that is oh, where was I going with this? Damn it. The miss, yeah, I know what you mean about the mispronunciations, but there was one I was gonna add to that, but
I've already screwed it up in the Gilgo Beach thing too because I don't know a lot of the names of those New York places, and so like I said Islip instead of Islip or whatever,
oh sure,
and so they were like it's pronounced this, and I'm like it does look bad if I'm trying to cover a story and I can't pronounce the names of the standard
I
towns. But I've
know,
never been on the East Coast, so I don't even know the name some of these names. So I learned
yeah,
real quick to try to pronounce it as best I can. That gets me beat up
yeah,
the least.
or Moscow,
Yeah.
like I was getting desecrated because I was saying Moscow, and it's like okay, I didn't know if you guys are aware of the fact that there's like a huge city in another continent that goes by the name Moscow. So like,
And I haven't. It's funny.
sorry
I
to
grew
get
up
you
here.
too confused. I mean, give me a damn break.
I grew up here and I had never had anybody complain with Moscow. The ones that around here that get mispronounced all the time is Spokane instead of
Right,
Spokane or Yakima instead of Yakima, right? Those are common misspellings or mispronunciations, which again, if you're a local, you're like, that's not how it's pronounced. I even slaughtered it in the I was naming one of the back roads that Koberger allegedly took, and I named some little town. And as soon as they corrected me, I'm like, oh my God, I know that. Like I live in this area. I know I just forgot how it was pronounced. And anyways, you can't win.
yeah, that's
So
funny. That's funny. So yeah, I think the unknown is one of those things that people kind of latch onto because, like you said, Lee, people that follow true crime are puzzle solvers. They love a riddle. They love to figure stuff out, and everybody likes putting on that detective hat and pulling a Sherlock Holmes and trying to figure it out. I know when I was a kid, I was reading like Agatha Christie novels and all that kind of stuff, and then slowly built up into the true crime world. But always have been fascinated with detective stories and murder mysteries and things like that. So I
yeah,
think it's
for sure.
cool. Now, speaking of the Gilgo Beach crimes, I know you wanted to talk about this, and this is something that you and I are going to be covering. I know AR is talking about doing it too. It would be nice to get some of the creators doing this story so that we could talk about it together. But you were going to talk about some Gilgo Beach, and there's some hints of the Idaho 4 in this one, is there not? Just a few little things that make you
Yeah, I
go,
mean, anytime you have corrupt police departments and cover-ups, it starts to have those shades. I remember the most recent video that I just did, and again, some of this stuff's been out there for a long time because I think the story was from 2003 or 2003. So maybe it's been out there a year, but for me, it was brand new. And here's the thing. Here's the thing I want to say before I get into some Gilgo Beach is I feel like what I offer and probably what you offer is not just rehashing the data that everybody sees, but sometimes we see things with different eyes than other people see. So sometimes when we're going back and we're looking at data that's been out there for forever, we're making a new connection to it that wasn't thought about before. But what I thought was fascinating is, in addition to, for example, James Burke, the chief of police, who was allegedly well known in the department as being kind of a corrupt cop, who got promoted and took 4 levels of promotion in one hop from Spoda, who also was corrupt, and promoted him, right? So then he dismantles the Gilgo Beach task force, hampers the FBI and tells the FBI, no thanks, we don't want your help, therefore getting in the way of the whole investigation.
right.
Find out that he has a history of himself using prostitutes, going to sex parties, doing drugs with prostitutes, having an attitude in the police department as who gives a shit, they're just prostitutes, nobody really cares about hookers.
Exactly.
And this story is off the hook, and so the new thing that I was just stunned about was hearing the attorney for Shannon Gilbert, who had found a I don't want to say hooker, that's such a bad word, a sex worker from back in the 90s, who said that she went to a party when she was like 15, and at that party was James Burke, who was a cop, and she was told he was a cop. She's underage girl, she's being solicited, and in comes a gigantic guy to the party, who she said she later realized was Rex Heuermann. When she saw him on TV, she's like, oh my God, that's the giant guy that scared the shit out of me that came into the party.
Wow.
And I'm like, how long have those guys known each other? And then you have to ask yourself,
Right.
did it get dismantled because they didn't want their buddy being found? And then you have, and this is like, I'm just riffing off the top of my head, but then you see, was it Christopher Loeb, or am I getting somebody else's name mixed up? He was basically beaten in because he broke into the chief of police's car right, and he discovered,
and they covered that up.
Right, he discovered sex toys and a videotape years after he got beaten in prison and threatened to be killed by James Burks, and that's what James Burks went to jail for beating the guy in prison and threatening to kill him and kill his mom and all crazy shit.
Right.
Then he comes forward and he says, by the way, that tape that he had in the videotape was a snuff film. And you're like, is that like, did he, and then you hear Rex Heuermann allegedly had a hard drive that had videos and images of women being tortured and their breasts mutilated and all kinds of stuff like that. And they didn't say whether they were homemade videos or whether they were just like fantasy collection he collected off the internet. So then you have to ask yourself, was he making snuff films? And were there cops? And they talk about cops laughing about snuff films when they're watching it in the. I mean, it's just like, how deep does that rabbit hole go? So I'm so intrigued, as it has massive
stuff there,
massive craziness.
Yeah. I mean, those of you that latched onto Idaho 4 because of the shoddy police work and stuff, this takes it to a whole different level. I mean, this is like active participation in the crimes, potentially, allegedly,
and not by the way, not related to, I gotta say, not related to Gilgo directly, but the same, like, Suffolk County Police Department, right? Another officer was recently busted because he and it's in the news, he was running a brothel and he was taking sex workers that had language problems, like, that weren't Native American or English speaking, and he would get them into high rent situations where they couldn't afford to pay their rent, and then would have to do sex in exchange for rent. And he's a cop running brothels along with a school teacher, and all that shit's coming out. It's nuts. Like, how much corruption is in that county?
it's almost like Rex Huerman's like the calmest one of the bunch.
Right. Who's the monster? I don't know. It's
when
crazy.
the smoke clears, it'll be this gigantic, weird looking dude, and everybody around him will be laid waste. I mean, just nothing else.
Yeah, and then you have to ask, how many people will cover stuff up because peripherally they're going to get pulled into Rex Huerman's case.
Yeah.
That's where it gets crazy, right there. When you start, if indeed, for example, if Rex Huerman was friends with cops, then you can't investigate his crimes without then getting into cops' lives. And if you get into cops' lives, how many people are going to cover up? Well, shit, I don't want to have anything coming out in the news that I knew this guy back in the 90s and we used to party together and all that kind of shit. So, then the cover-up comes. So,
yeah, it's definitely a fascinating case. But there were 4 victims that were found altogether, right?
Yes. Yeah, with the Gilgo 4 is what they called him originally.
Right. And then
they were looking for Shannon Gilbert. They found her.
Yeah, they expanded the search and found more. They found a male. They found a male victim, an Asian male.
Yep.
An infant.
Yep.
And
a child of 3 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like you said in the beginning. Are they?
And I don't think they're the same. I don't think they're the same. I don't think it's the same killer. I can't say definitively, but I have real serious questions about whether those are all the same killer. Again, the Gilgo 4 were much different MO than they were bodies intact in burlap bags with I think tape on their mouth or something like that. Whereas others were, the torso was found in one place and the head in another place and the feet in another place. That doesn't feel like the same kind of killer to me, despite the whole, he's just evolving mentality that they seem to have.
Yeah. What about the female hair found in, what was it? One of the knots? Is that what?
There was, I think there was almost 4. I think 4 of the 7 victims they allegedly tied to Rex Huerman because it either had his wife's hair or his daughter's hair on tape or whatever, that they had DNA of his wife and his daughter, and they don't believe at this point that the wife and daughter were in on it in any way, shape, or form or knew. But the idea was that maybe he was using household items like duct tape in the house or rope in the house that his family's DNA got on, and then that would get transferred to the crime scene. So crazy shit.
Because I remember in the early days there was some buzz about, was she involved?
Yeah.
The wife. But then I think they've come to find out that she really wasn't. And a majority of the times that he was out doing his thing, his wife was out of state or out of the country back in, where she, Denmark or
another country.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, and I don't want to. I want to be careful. I don't know how adult your show is, but so I will try to be careful how I say this. But that recent article I talked about, where Ray was the attorney Ray was saying that there was a story between this sex worker who met Rex Huerman and James Burke back in the 90s when she was a young girl. There was another story that came forward of a prostitute who went to a sex party with Rex Huerman and his wife Asa. They were swingers and they exchanged sex with multiple people, and that Rex Huerman had sex with one of the women a couple times, and then she saw a woman running out of the house naked that was terrified from him because he was chasing her down, kind of shit. I'm like so then you have to ask yourself, if maybe it's not, but if there's any evidence to that whatsoever that it's true that Asa and Rex were swingers and that they were involved in the sex life of swinging couples, then how much did she know or not know or turned the blind eye to? I don't know. It's just early questions, really early questions.
Yeah. I got a comment here. I've been meaning to jump in with it. Rodney Luno, Fishing Rod of God, apparently. Howdy, folks. Much love, Pete, and you horn high peeps from London, Ontario, in Canada. So
nice.
Hell yeah, Rodney. Go eat some poutine, though, Rodney. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
I've learned what poutine is. If you're not familiar with that Canadian delicacy, then Google that. It's good stuff.
I learned that through American hockey because we played enough hockey teams that
sure.
Out of the hockey stadiums. Yeah.
The first time I heard the word, I thought it was a word for a female body part, but then I realized it was not. One of my co-hosts.
It is an adult show. It is an adult show.
One of my co-hosts Murder Metal Mayhem said it, and I'm looking at him like, what the hell did you just say? We were talking to a Canadian that we have on the show when we do Canadian cases. So I'm like, well, that sounds like, biscuits and gravy in the Midwest, So we were going to have a contest. This is right before I got sick. We were going to have a contest where we ate biscuits and gravy and poutine, and we voted on which one was the best. But we
And what was
never
the
got
vote?
to it. But it's
Oh.
it's still on the table. It's still on the
All
table.
right. Still out in the open.
It is. But yeah, I think the Gilgo Beach case has got a lot of possibilities. Any inkling of an idea when this thing's supposed to go to any kind of trial or anything, Lee? I mean,
No, I mean they're all in. They're still trying to decide how many people I think they're going to charge him with, but I think they've got 7 solid that they're going with, and so I'm guessing sometime next year. But and of course, as an aside, now this isn't such a great murder story or true crime thing, 'cause I don't think there's going to be a story there. But Travis Decker is still on the run and still in my neighborhood,
yeah,
in my mountainous area. So I keep
I know.
expecting to see him on the trail one of these days. And
I know. I wanted to ask you about that, but real quick here, Crime Tech Explorer is saying biscuits and gravy all the way. I may be biased though. What about in your part of the country, Lee? Do they have biscuits and gravy?
hell yeah, and there's a
Okay,
and I have to say, biscuits and gravy is one of the meals that I judge a restaurant by. So if they have it, I'll order biscuits and gravy to
nice.
decide how
I'm
good
the
the
same
restaurant is,
way.
how good they're, that and a good club sandwich or a French dip. I use those as testing things to see how well they do the basics. So biscuits and gravy is
Nice.
one of them.
When I first moved to the Midwest from the East Coast, I saw it on the menu, and I'm like, "What the hell is that?" Like that just sounds disgusting. I thought it was like brown gravy. And then I'm like, well, it's not like Italian gravy because Italian gravy, spaghetti sauce. I knew it wasn't that. I thought it was maybe brown gravy, but that sounded disgusting for breakfast. So then somebody at the table ordered it, and I was like, "Damn, that looks really good. What is that?" It's biscuits and gravy. And he's like, "You've never heard of that before?" I'm like, "Never even heard of it, never seen it, didn't know anything about it."
That's insane to me. But that's because I live on the West Coast and I've only
I
known the
know. So then I tried it, and as you can easily tell by looking at me, I like biscuits and gravy. They're amazing, and yeah, I'm all about it. And I'm the same way. If I go somewhere, that's my test. If the biscuits and gravy are good, then they're all right with me. So,
Yep,
so yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that's good stuff. That's great.
Carb lover's dream right there.
Yeah, Catherine S is jumping in the fray here. Here in Texas, we have chili gravy. Yes.
Chili
When
gravy.
when I was in the army, boy, they were eating some chili eating fools down there in Texas. I loved the Texas food for sure. Definitely some really good stuff. But yeah, chili gravy, excellent, excellent.
Huh.
Excellent.
There's
And we have
still parts of
somebody
life
who's
I
all
haven't experienced
confused.
yet.
Dreamcatcher's all confused. So I'm not sure what he's confused about. Probably why are we talking about biscuits and gravy
Like
at
this
Gilgo
has gone
Beach?
off the rails. I tuned in for true crime, and I'm getting freaking a lesson on
Yeah,
East Coast versus
exactly.
West
Well,
Coast
my
food.
sister's a chef, so I mean, I could kind of say that it's let's see here, chili isn't chili without beans. So yeah, you have that age old argument there too. What's better, chili with the beans or not? That's
You know
good
what I
stuff.
noticed? Here's a thing that I didn't know was a thing, and this is kind of like an East Coast, West Coast, or Midwest thing, which was meatloaf. And when I grew up, meatloaf had ketchup on top, and other people like, no, it's brown gravy on top. And I'm like, I didn't know there was an option. Like I thought it was ketchup on top of meatloaf, not. And so apparently, depending on where you're from, you'd have never even
Yeah,
heard of the other option. So,
yeah. I
so
think
here
I
we are
grew
talking
up
about
with
food.
it. I think I grew up with it being on top. So, but yeah, that sounds like a familial thing. But so what did you want to talk about with Travis Decker? I mean, this guy's running around the hillside. I spoke with Unfiltered Lucky last night, and he does. And Lucky is a huge outdoorsman, and
Yeah,
Lucky said there's no way this guy is still alive
yeah.
unless he's got people helping him, because he doesn't know how he would be eating without making smoke and being detected and no power source. And like I said, Lucky knows a lot about that sort of thing. But what do you think, Lee?
I mean, I don't know. When he first went on the run, they made a big deal about the fact that he was a ranger and that he had been trained in survival and that they expected that he could live in the mountains for months. So that was one of the first things they said was that this guy could live off the land for months. But I don't know.
If he wasn't being chased by the feds,
Right.
that's what Lucky was saying is if he's being chased, he's on the run.
Right.
He can't like bed down and set up camp, type thing.
Right.
But,
right. So so he would have to have a weapon on him that he can kill stuff with and be able to cook. And like you said, then that leads to fires. And then they've had sightings. The most recent sighting was just a few days ago in the Sawtooth Mountains, right near where I'm at, kind of thing, which is why I said he literally could be in my neck of the woods. Because originally they thought, based on stuff on his computer, that he was searching, how to get a job in Canada, and it happened up by the Canadian border. So they thought he was going to be going to Canada, and then it looks like maybe he went the opposite direction and started heading south towards Mexico. Now they think last sighting he had is he's kind of like in the middle. He's in deep Idaho, right by Oregon, Eastern Oregon. So now they think he could be going east-west. The last report I saw was that the authorities didn't think he had killed himself. They had a big explanation about how they're using cadaver dogs and there's no indication. They think that he hasn't. They don't believe that he's killed himself yet. Although that was my first guess, is that this guy's probably long ago killed himself.
That's
but
what Lucky was thinking too.
But they're still keeping the eye open that he may be just really good at survival and be out there in the wild somewhere, And it was funny because I don't know if I don't think I said it on your show. I think I said it on somebody else's live when I was with them. But I hike around this area, and the trail system hooks up with the trail system he was last seen. And I carry a firearm with me, open carry, when I'm out hiking in case I run across a bear or whatever. And I thought to myself, if I run across this guy, I'm a dead man, because he'll be like, "Oh, free ammunition and an old fat part." So I'm just gonna take this guy out and take his weapon, and now I got free ammo. So probably not the smart thing for me to go out there as much. I don't know, until they catch the guy. But I'm gonna keep hiking and take my risk, I guess.
I got this one here I couldn't resist because I've always said if you don't agree with something that I'm saying, then voice your opinion and let's talk about it. So here, JT says, "To the point is the only," which I like that channel, To the Point. Seth over there does a good job. "He's the only pro burger admitting that they were wrong. Nika, Jules Harsh, Metal Murder Mayhem, AR, and Lucky are all doubling down on stupid, LOL." So I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and argue with this guy, but what I am going to say about it is that, if you honestly think that there's no stone left unturned in this case that could possibly show that this guy either didn't do it at all or was not alone in it, then I don't know what to tell you, because the evidence they had was piss poor, and I think that they would have probably won with a jury that had half common sense. But we could agree to disagree, and I'm not going to get in the weeds with this guy. I'm just making a mention.
Well, I want to comment about it too in a polite way, which is to say, on the one hand, before Kohberger pled guilty, I have nothing to be ashamed about. It's the same thing that Harsh Reality said. I'm not ashamed of presuming a person's innocence until proven guilty. That's what our frickin' system is built on. I'm ashamed of the people like others out there who had him guilty from day one and now are patting themselves on the back saying, "I knew it all along because the media told me he was guilty on day one and I've always believed it. Yay for me. I'm so proud of myself." I'm not proud of that at all. I think, and I'm not ashamed for presuming the guy's innocence. Now, yes, things have slightly changed, obviously, when a person says that they're guilty, because it's a lot harder to presume somebody's innocence if they're flat out telling you they're guilty. And so I'm more careful with the way I say it now. But again, one, I'm not sorry that I gave the guy the presumption of innocence. The questions are still unanswered. There's a million reasons why people plead guilty to things that they didn't do or weren't fully complicit in. And if this person or people like that want to accept that it's okay with them that other people walked free if they were involved in it, whatever, that's fine. But the last thing I would say, and again, not to be try to be rude, is what I don't understand is people like JT, for example. Why is he here on your channel? Like,
Right.
why do you go to, if you think we're doubling down on stupid, how stupid is it that you're hanging out here? Like,
Right.
that would be like, that's like crazy. Like, if you think we're morons, why would you spend time listening to a moron? Move on.
What does
I'm an
that
idiot.
say
Move
about
on. What does that say
what
about
does
you if
that
you want to
say
listen
about
to a
you,
moron?
JT? Now come on
So,
now.
anyways.
There's got to be some other videos you can watch, my friend. So life's too short. But I'm glad you're laughing out loud. But I don't know if you're laughing out loud to a crowd of one. But hey, whatever, dude. Whatever.
I mean, a lot of people do want to feel, they want to feel vindicated because they've you know, and a lot of times I think what it comes from, to be honest with you, is they've always felt a certain way, and somebody you know, picked on them, and now they feel vindicated. Now they're like, oh great, I knew he was guilty all along, and I feel vindicated, and they want to have their moment to rub it in everybody's face that made them doubt their belief from day one. So I get it to some extent. But.
Right. Right. Let's see what. So, do you think there's any doubt that that those kids were murdered by their dad, Travis Decker? Do you think there could be anybody else involved? I mean, there
The
was the
only
prints left on the tailgate, but those proven to be his?
See, and that's the thing. That was the only moment where I questioned, because that supposedly there was another male's blood found on his bumper, and if that's the case, then you have to ask yourself, did somebody else kill his kids and then he killed that person, or did he kill that person and then realized, shit, my world just changed and I'm gonna kill my kids too, and go there? Like, what happened? The mystery starts to kick in when, why is there some other person's blood on the bumper? Now, since then, I think the authorities have stated it was animal blood, not human blood. So if he was a hunter and he killed some animal, that would totally make sense. So at the moment, I have no reason to believe Travis Decker didn't kill his own kids. It's another one of those things we'd like to know why. I'd also like to know, what was his end game? Like, does he really expect, does he plan to be on the run forever? Does he plan to get away with it? Or is he just waiting for death by a cop until they catch him and he's going to write it out and then have a big, huge shootout with the cops? And, like, what was the end game? Or is it just literally day by day until he gets exhausted and then he decides to take his own life? I'm just curious how that's going to play out, because I can't believe he still hasn't been caught.
I know.
But I don't know.
I know. It is pretty wild. I mean, that he's been able to stay either missing or on the run. We don't know if he's holed up somewhere, or if he's dead or what, but definitely a fascinating case for sure. Any other cases that you wanted to talk about? Anything kind of in the horizon, or any true crime case from your past that maybe you what like kind of got you drawn into true crime? Was there a kind of that iconic case like Dahmer or any of
Well,
those?
the iconic case, I think, for me, that changed my life as far as being fascinated, was the O.J. Simpson case, just because of how that all played out, and so that was what really kind of drug me into that world. But I've always been fascinated by, just like a lot of people, the serial killers and the Bundys and stuff like that. I always was curious about what causes somebody to do that. How did Manson, get to people's minds and make them do things for him? All of those things have always been fascinating. I've always been interested in psychology. I mean, as far as current, and it took, so I guess those are some of the old cases that I remember being influential. And of course, the Zodiac killer and all these others as well, Son of Sam and stuff like that. But, true crime cases that I'm still kind of looking at right now, I'd love to have a true crime case that was a little closer to the West Coast, that's like an unsolved murder I could dive into. Something where there's still mystery out there and they haven't broke the case, and it's close enough where I can start actually putting some boots on the ground. I would love that. I've been looking at the Tyree Nichols thing, and I don't know if it's really interesting to people or not. That was the individual that was beaten by a group of cops that had a name for their squad. They called themselves like the Scorpion Squad, and they beat a black man in the back of a van and then killed him. And then now they're getting convictions, but there's some crazy shit there with a judge that recused himself last minute, all kinds of crazy shit going on there. So it's got, again, it's got that police corruption angle that I seem to be so obsessed about, again, and I love law enforcement. I can't stand corrupt cops. So it's one of those dichotomies. So I'm looking for cases that people would be interested in, and I don't. And the worst part about it is I don't want to be the guy who's sitting there hoping that something horrible happens in America, so I have a new case to follow, because that just seems like sick and twisted. But I'm always curious about what the next big case is going to be, the next Karen Reed story or whatever. So.
Yeah, for sure. Catherine S. posted the Iceman.
Iceman. Mm-hmm.
Kuklinski there. He is definitely an infamous hitman for a couple different mob families. Some say his story was a little embellished, but some good stuff there. I mean, this guy had ice running through his veins, but he got his nickname from taking people, murdering them, and then putting them on ice for a few days or a month or whatever, and then throwing them somewhere to throw off the time of death for the investigators. So that's why when the
doing some pretty horrific stuff.
When the Idaho 4 came up and people were talking about that front door being open and that heating and air conditioning company being there the next day, I wondered if maybe somebody dismantled the heating and air conditioning so it would throw off the temperatures of the bodies, because that's what they use to measure, time of death. And so if you've got bodies in a house that's ice cold, it's going to, slow down that process and throw them off, especially if it's being done 12 hours later. I could see where that really could have thrown it off, but I never heard anything more about it. But I was raising questions about it because I think that could have been part of the reason why they were so unsure of time of death. We heard 2, then we heard 3, then we heard 4. It
right,
just changing.
Right, and that's what made me think that they might have been shoehorning the thing, because there was a lot of moving time frames on when the murders happened, and then when they decided on one individual, it became, well, this is when the car shows up and this is when the car leaves, so now we have to have everything fit into that window, and locked themselves into a very narrow time window.
Right. Here we got Jeremy Pearson says Andrew Cunanan. Yeah, that's the dude that killed the designer, wasn't it? If I'm not mistaken, the clothing designer. If it's the same one I'm thinking about, I think that's who that is. It's fuzzy. It's fuzzy. Yeah, something like that. Let's see here. Got any other good comments while I'm in the comments here?
What about you? Do you have your eyes on any true crime cases that you're thinking about following, or?
Well, like I said, the Gilgo Beach for sure. I am interested in the the Travis Decker case, although I think it is probably going to be, soon we'll probably know what happened there, but it definitely interests me. The kid from Oklahoma, Noah, the last name.
I had that up earlier.
The teenager that was found dead at a big party, a 4-day party out there in Oklahoma, and Pressgrove. Is that what it is?
Noah Pressgrove. Yeah.
Noah Pressgrove. I was talking with Lucky about that one last night. He's got a video coming out about him. I watched a short doc this morning and was very interested in that case. And like I said, the only reason why I've been trying to find out what everyone's doing in my little group of creators that I associate with, so that we could have other opportunity to do more lives together. Because if we're all covering, different cases, that's going to be harder to do. So I think that would be cool. And then I've been talking about it, and I just started preliminary work on it this week. Is I'm doing a long form video on the West Memphis 3.
Yeah.
West Memphis 3 case. I think that's a good case to illustrate how people could get swept up in hysteria with the satanic panic, and how those kids were railroaded into those charges for nothing more than wearing black concert shirts and listening to heavy metal, which is just ridiculous.
Crazy what people will run with. Hey, I
Yeah,
just wanted to do a shout out to Laura Jones for upgrading your membership. Thank you so much. I got to make sure you get your money's worth on that for sure. So thank you for being a member and upgrading to a higher tier. I really appreciate that very much. It helps a lot.
that's
A lot.
awesome. Yeah, it really does.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we've
here.
got a good little community going. So I'm hoping that I'm hoping that we can. And like you said, there's a benefit of us following a lot of the same cases because it gets people. And my perspective is going to be slightly different than your perspective, and vice versa. And
For
so
sure.
if somebody gets interested in the case, it's great for them to hear 4 or 5 different perspectives on the same information. So
Right.
you almost can't overdo it because it gives them, as long as we're not just parroting each other and
Of
saying the
course.
exact same shit, then yeah.
Right. Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. Cheryl Fitzgerald says, yeah, Noah Pressgrove, a good case to get into. Such a weird one. It is a weird one. Some interesting facts. Reminds me a little bit of the Stephen Smith case when I was doing the Murdoch trial. The boy that was murdered out in the middle of the road. Um, they said he was hit by a car, but yet there was no evidence that he was hit by a car. It reminds me of that. So Stephen Smith, that's still ongoing there in South Carolina.
God, what was
But
that? There was a recent guy that it was uh, capturing girls and torturing them and and he would read them. He would have them listen to an audio tape that he made, telling them all the things that's going to happen to them over the next
oh
few
yeah,
days.
the toy
What was
box
that?
killer.
The toy box killer. Yeah, is
Yeah,
that was an
yeah,
interesting case for sure.
David Parker Ray.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. That was
The guy goes to prison right after his trial when he's found guilty. In processing in prison, drops dead of a heart attack and never serves a day.
that's so nuts. That's
How
so nuts.
is that? That's almost
That's
as
not
bad as Kohlberger saying he was guilty.
right. Just
That's
completely robbing everyone
almost
of.
as bad. Or
Wow.
Pol Pot. That's another one. Pol Pot was being tried on war crimes. Guy killed millions of his own people by starving them to death. And he's in bed in his prison cell and dies peacefully in his sleep right before the trial was over. It's like, you son of a bitch. That's
Right.
so bogus.
It's horrible. Like you're
It is
like
horrible. But the
that's not
David
it's
Parker
not
Ray,
fair.
yeah,
Life
toy
is not
box
fair.
killer, that's wicked. Yeah.
Yeah.
The FBI agent, the female FBI agent that was the lead on that case, when she went through all those videotapes that he had of those victims in the trailer,
Yeah.
uh,
Oh
she
God.
she offed herself.
Oh really? She couldn't handle it, huh?
Yes. Couldn't
Yeah, that
handle it. That's how bad
yeah,
it was. That's how bad it was.
it was psychologically brutal to think about that and to
Very
listen to the
brutal.
tape stuff and oh yeah.
Yeah, old David
I can't
Parker.
even imagine.
Here, Joanne Murdoch. Pete, have you heard of the mushroom case? Have I heard of the mushroom case? Oh, hell yeah, I've heard of the mushroom case. This is a great one. Have you heard of this, Lee?
No,
This
educate me.
lady, this lady invites over 4 of her she was divorced from her husband, and there was like some drama in the family, like there always is. So she invites her former in-laws over and stuff to try to broker some peace. One of the people at the lunch was a family member, but he was like a preacher. And so she invites them in. The husband winds up taking a rain check at the last second, and he doesn't go over there. So then she cooks some beef Wellington, which if you ever watch any of those chef shows, they always do the beef Wellington thing. But apparently, it's beef inside of a pastry, but inside the pastry are mushrooms.
Yeah.
And she used those death cap mushrooms on the 4 people. And she made sure her and her kids ate a batch that wasn't made with the death cap mushrooms. And she just got found guilty. Yeah, she just got found guilty. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. The trial I think it just ended. So, yeah. I think that's a good one. I wanted to do that on the Murder Metal Mayhem podcast, actually. So that would be fun. We usually do solved cases on there and unsolved cases on the YouTube channel. So
Somebody was asking your channel or mine about how to become a member through YouTube. Is I think
if you go on our channel page, if you go on mine or Lee's, there should be a thing for become a member or something.
Yeah, join. There's a subscribe and a join. I think subscribe means you just follow the channel, and join means you're joining a member program.
Right. And then if you have multiple tiers, like we both do, you could choose which tier you want to become a member of, the basic one or one of the other ones where there might be more perks.
I speak not to speak business, but one of the problems I had is one of the tiers that I had is I wanted to have member only lives, and then I realized that only works if you have like a certain minimum number of members. Because if you only have 10 members, then doing a member only live, you might get lucky if one of them shows up, right? So it's like you want to make it a perk for a certain level, but you have to have a certain level of members before it even makes sense to do it. So I'm trying to make sure that my perks and my membership tiers are appropriate and that people are actually going to get the money's worth of anything that they pay. Some people, of course, are just, and it's fantastic, some people just help pay for a membership to help support the channel and show love to the channel, which is, and don't even expect anything. But
now I'm doing a 5 free gift membership. So if your settings are set to receive it, you may be one of the 5, but I don't pick who gets these. It's randomly done by YouTube. So here we go.
I forgot that you can do that. I don't know how to do it, but I heard you can do that. Just give away and it randomly picks people.
I can tell you how to do it. Yeah, it's really
nice.
Easy.
Yeah.
So there you go, you guys.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that because I forgot about that. And I think the algorithm assigns them based in part on their watch time of your channel. It kind of rewards people who've been around for a little while, but it's also
that's cool.
Yeah. So, but we don't have control over who gets it. But
yeah, very cool. Yeah, welcome to the new members. And if it's something you like, you could keep it going. And if you don't, that's fine. That's fine too. But yeah, I think the West Memphis 3, I've been talking about doing this for a while. I've always had a fascination with that case. I know it's an older case, but I think there could be things learned from it. And hopefully this is a good one too. There could be, interest in cases that are old, not just the most up-to-date ones. Because like I said, there's always things to be learned. Here, Teresa Morris, how about the killer duo of Leonard Lake and Charles Ng? Brutal one for sure. Very creepy guys building bunkers under the ground and having slaves and making them do things and snuff films and all of that. Very, very classic case out there in California. We did that on the podcast. But they were really bad. 1985, she says, which sounds about right. But she was getting out of high school, so it would be pretty freaky for sure. But they went after like an entire family, couples, it didn't even matter. But they were both Marines. They met each other in the Marines, and then I think maybe in prison as well. It was sordid story with those two, but yeah, definitely a horrific duo.
Before we sign out, since we're dual streaming, can you tell me how to gift out a few memberships on my side?
If you go to it on your YouTube channel, not on StreamYard, you go down to let me get it up on my screen and I could walk you right through it.
And on the studio page, or
on the studio page where it shows us talking in the chat. Also, at the bottom of the chat, there's a $sign, like a dollar bill.
Yep.
You click on that, and then it's membership gifting at the bottom.
Oh, I must not have it turned on. It's not one of my options. I thought I had it turned on, but
it must not be turned on then. That's how you do it.
Okay, I'll fix it for next time so that I can give some gifts away because I forgot about that. I think you're allowed to give like 10 memberships away a month or
Yeah,
something.
they give us so many free a month, so that's really
Yeah.
cool. I didn't know that either, so I'll be doing that too. So who knows? You may come here and get a freebie. But yeah, I think the Idaho 4 is going to endure. There's certainly stuff to talk about. I don't see any harm in us doing it. And if it's not something that you want to hear about, then like I said, go to another channel. I hope that you guys understand that we do want to talk about other cases. I know that I hear, in the comments, you guys bringing up cases. I'm trying to stay up with some of the ones that you guys mentioned, but can't certainly do them all. But we'll try our best to accommodate, and we want to. You guys are the audience, so you're the reason we're doing this. You guys, we want to make you enjoy it and want to come back for more. Neither of us are doing this to become rich. We're doing this because we enjoy it.
Yeah, certainly
And
not
if you,
becoming rich, but
if you can make a few bucks to help pay for the time spent, because I mean the time spent is significant. I'm backing away a little bit as I start working on the new book, but I'm still doing stuff every day. I just may not be doing it all day every day. But here we got a comment here. Very awesome, guys. Thanks for going live tonight. Always enjoy you both. Open to new cases. That's good to hear, Jeremy.
I'm desperate. I know I look distracted. I'm desperately trying to figure out how to turn on the thing so I can gift some stuff while I'm on your live, but it doesn't look like I'm going to pull it off quickly because like the steps on how to do it are not showing up where I expected to see. It's like, oh well. I wanted to, but I will eventually. I think I'll save it for a time that you and I are live together. I'll give some gifts out for my channel as well. So
Yeah. Now, Teresa, you're saying you don't know how to give your settings set for free memberships. I don't know how it is for individual channels, but I know how it is for mine. And it was in somewhere in settings. I remember setting it up where there's like a checkbox that you'll accept free memberships or something like that, or accept memberships or gifts or something. So unfortunately, I can't give you any more guidance than that, but it is somewhere in your settings. I know, at least for the Murder Metal Mayhem channel, that's where I saw it first. And here, Crime Tech Explorer's got some better info. I think there's a setting in viewers too, and you have to check or uncheck it, but he can't remember where. Yeah, same thing. So you may
yeah,
have to just do some hunting and pecking, but it's there. You might want
yeah,
to Google it too, Teresa. That may be a good way to find it. Is just Google, how do I turn on to receive memberships on YouTube, and they probably tell you step by step how to do it.
it's weird that it's a two-part thing. Like we have to, as the channel owner, have to set it up to give them away, and then they also have to set it up so that they're allowed to receive gifts.
Yeah, it is odd.
Seems like
It
a
is
lot
odd.
of work there.
Yeah.
Huh. Oh
Yeah.
well, I'll get
Crime
it
Tech
figured out.
Explorer's checking with Chat GBT, so he'll weigh in
I
on that.
but it's leading me astray.
But speaking of Crime Tech Explorer, he's helping me out with the Discord uh, server, so I'll be joining you soon, Lee, on Discord. I know we've
Very
already
cool.
chatted a little bit.
Yeah, and
Um,
you are you going to join us for a Friday night's after dark party or no? Or are you
I'll
not
see
sure?
what's going on here. I'll see
Yeah,
what's going on here. What time does that start?
7 p.m. my time, which is what 9 p.m. your time, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll set a thing on my phone to remind me if I'm not doing anything. Yeah, I would love to do it. But so yeah, so very cool, guys. We appreciate you guys coming on with us and talking. I'm going to stay on here for a little bit, see if anybody's got anything else they want to chat about or talk about.
Did you want me to bail out so you can have some solo time or?
No, you can hang on.
Oh, okay, okay. I was just trying to make sure. I think I was like, oh, you want to hang
Oh
out? I'll take off.
no, I wasn't kicking you out. No, I wasn't kicking you out.
All right. While you're talking to them, I'm going to see if I can figure this shit out just real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
It can't be that hard.
Go to channel live stream, click join or membership button if visible, and click allow GIFs, and then click allow. So if that helps anybody out there.
Yeah, boy, it shouldn't be this difficult, you know.
Teresa asks, back to the Leonard Lake and Charles Ng, one of them, the Asian guy, didn't he have the cyanide? No, Leonard Lake had the cyanide in his shirt. So when the cops arrested him, he was all cocky, and they put him in the room for being interrogated, and he bit through his shirt and bit the capsule. And they came in there and found him convulsing on the floor, and so he offed himself with the cyanide. So Charles Ng had to do the time, and he's still inside doing time. He's quite the artist, Teresa. I don't know if you've ever seen any of his art. Very impressive. When I interviewed the vampire of Paris, what was his name? It's escaping me for a second. Nico Clos, the vampire of Paris. I interviewed him. He actually murdered somebody and ate body parts and all kinds of stuff. I interviewed him, and he corresponded with Lake and was very complimenting of Lake's art. So yeah, you might want to check that out. Kind of creepy and weird, but
I think I might be figuring out how to do this.
very cool. Very cool.
Oh, gifts are now enabled. Now the question is, will it let me do it while I'm live right now? Let's see.
Yeah, see if it'll let you.
And don't even ask me how I found it, because I don't even think I could find it.
That's how it was with me. I was just kind of randomly looking at stuff, and I found it.
All right, give me 2 seconds, and I might be able to throw some gifts if there's anybody left in the channel. Of course, everybody's probably signing out. They're like, yeah, we're done.
No, there's still about 100 people in here. So
all right. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Almost there. Stay on target. All right, hold on.
Be getting some free memberships here from Devil's Advocates. You got some for Murder Metal Mayhem.
Yeah, I remember. I think it's a really cool idea to be able to give some free gifts away. I mean, free is me,
It
right?
is cool. It's nice to be able to do that.
All right, I'm almost there. I got one more click to go, and I think I'm going to be able to do it. Let's cross your fingers that it now works. Oh, it doesn't work. All right, sorry.
It might make you wait.
I enabled it, but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well. Maybe it's because I'm already live streaming and it's not going to do it on the fly.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it would or not. Here, Satire says, I always enjoy you guys together. Good conversations.
I spent far too much time on that.
Jeremy did the super chat.
Yeah, Jeremy Pearson. Has anyone seen the movie Exit Through the Gift Shop? And a gift, thank you. But a gift from Jeremy talking about the movie Exit Through the Gift Shop. Have you seen that movie, Exit Through the Gift Shop?
I have not seen it. No, I have not seen it.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. I will have to check that out.
Very cool.
I feel so inept that I can't pull off the gift, but hey, it is what it is. It's not for a lack of trying. I'll tell you that much. It's not for a lack of trying.
Well, you guys have a good rest of your week, and I'm not sure. It looks like I'm going to be doing my next live on Saturday afternoon at 4 p.m. Central, so I'll be in here doing my thing. I'll be solo on Saturday, but be looking forward to talking with you guys again, and we'll see if me and Lee are going to do something again next Thursday. We enjoy doing these together. Our numbers haven't been great, but I'll tell you, it may take a while to build up the following for the two of us. And I talked with AR about having us three get on one time. So we'll be hopefully doing that soon too. So.
Yeah, and we might have a little bit better luck if we plan ahead a little bit more and script it and put out an announcement and all this, because we've been flying by the seat of our pants last couple times, right? So maybe if we I don't know, we'll find a way. But eventually people will maybe pick up and join us.
Yeah, I enjoy doing it. So to me,
regardless,
with the small crowd, it's okay. You guys are all important. You guys are here, and you guys take the time out to sit here and listen to us. So Me and him don't mind talking about true crime. You know, it's always a fun conversation. But you
Yeah,
guys
for
be
sure.
good. Don't forget to hit the like button. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Make sure you subscribe to Devil's Advocates. I'm going to throw that back up on the screen again. So make
Oh,
sure
thank you.
you go over there and subscribe to them as well. And we'll see you guys next time. So be good.
All right. Thank you so much for having me on again tonight.
You bet.